Can affirmations make any difference? We're told that our thoughts create our life outcomes, and we're taught to come up with a positive vision for our lives, to carefully craft inspirational words around it, to become absorbed in what we want to bring about, and to connect with this vision whenever we can. And yet often, nothing changes in our lives, however much we do this, and the situations we want to transform carry on as they were before, or even continue to get worse. Why is this? Is it that the law of attraction is simply wrong? Or could there be an issue with our basic understanding of how it works and how to use it to transform our lives? What is an affirmation? Generally, we think of it as a statement that encapsulates a vision of how we want our lives to be, and that has the power to result in the manifestation of that vision. One way that we can do this is to consciously envision what we want and to craft a statement around it that we repeat to ourselves and try to weave into our lives to make it as real as possible. We call this an affirmation. But there's another, much more powerful way that this happens in our lives all the time without us even being aware of it. And that's through the unconscious commentary that's always going on in our heads about everything that happens in our lives, whether we like what's happening or we don't. By our human nature, we tend to give much more attention to the things we don't like than the things we do. And this leads us to automatically making constant negative affirmations to ourselves, which unfortunately have the same power of manifestation, except that we're doing it unconsciously all the time, making them much more effective. If we don't seem to have as much money as we want, or as much time, or as many friendships as we aspire to have, we tend to sulk about this lack and draw extreme conclusions from it, which we then quietly and often unknowingly keep repeating to ourselves. These unconscious affirmations tend to end up being things like, I don't have enough of whatever it is, and then we end up extrapolating and catastrophizing about what this means for us on a deeper level. I'll always be poor. Good things don't happen for me. I'm not likable. He always hurts me. Life is a struggle. There's something wrong with me. I don't deserve happiness or abundance. It's pointless even to try. And we quietly dwell on or worry about these imagined tragedies as we go about our daily lives without even realizing we're doing it. Each time it happens, we further reinforce and entrench the negativity that we've accumulated. It might be giving our ego a layer of comfort, finding some justification for why we haven't achieved success in a particular aspect of our lives. So we can tell ourselves, it's not my fault, I've just been lumbered with this unfair disadvantage. But they cost us much more than they appear to give. All these negative affirmations are quietly going on in the background, slowly getting imprinted on our subconscious minds without our awareness, and they affect our daily experience. So if I keep telling myself, let's say, that other people are unkind and manipulative, then every time I'm out, every time I'm at a shop, on the bus, or speaking on the phone, I'll be super alert to any possible sign of unkindness. I'll see it even when it's not there, and this will further reinforce my belief. I won't be able to celebrate acts of selfless kindness around me because I probably won't even notice them. And if I do, I'll just assume there's some ulterior motive behind it. And all of this will be evidence that I was right to be suspicious in the first place, and I should continue to take the same set of attitudes into my next interactions in life. My suspicious attitude will continue to attract more of the same to me. As a result of this simple belief that people are unkind, my life will become so much more miserable than it would have been without it. We expand on this in our video about the belief code, where we go into how these imprinted beliefs then go on to mold our lives. It's also available as an article on our website. It's incredible to imagine how profoundly these simple beliefs that we repeat to ourselves quietly can totally reshape our experience of life. In the light of this, how much impact can the positive affirmations that we consciously devise and use possibly have? Our different types of affirmations, the positive ones that we consciously repeat to ourselves and the negative ones that we unconsciously reinforce, seem to be telling us opposite things. The difference is that we use the positive affirmations when we remember to do so and when we're able to make the time and space to do them properly, while the subconscious negative ones are playing constantly in the background of our minds and entrenching themselves ever deeper. There's no fair competition here. And there's another much more powerful reason why our positive conscious affirmations are at a big disadvantage compared to our unconscious negative ones. When we formulate them, we put a lot of emphasis on the words and the visions that these words are designed to evoke. But words and visions are not the language of manifestation. In fact, they're largely irrelevant to it, except in as far as they can create and entrench a feeling and conviction. These are what make the real difference. The negative affirmations of the subconscious mind that we've just explored are naturally created in this spirit. They're already optimized to be effective. They often don't even exist in words or visions. They're just a natural expression of what we deeply and unconsciously hold to be true, and of our powerful underlying feelings about this: fear, worry, self-recrimination, despair. These feelings create and sustain an irresistible invitation to the universe to bring us more of what we actively don't want. We're effectively calling for more of the same, more of the things we're worried and fearful and self-abusive about. That's why the more we dwell on or allow ourselves to be affected by our problems and issues, the more we invite an increase in them. And the more we experience the dejection and despair that this brings about, the more our physical bodies, which are programmed to cooperate with whatever we feed into them, flood our system with hormones that reinforce the misery. This in turn inclines us to dwell even more on those emotions and to go even deeper into a downward spiral that strengthens them. We're caught in this negative cycle. Our thoughts change our brain chemistry, and our body responds by triggering the release of hormones which affirm those negative thoughts. The result is that we start experiencing feelings and emotions that correspond to the thoughts, and these feelings and emotions promote more negative thoughts that go back and start the cycle all over again, more deeply. How can we possibly compete with this with our mere words of affirmation? Whatever words we choose, they're going to be contradicted by the more powerful, limiting beliefs that we're repeating to ourselves constantly under the radar. And anyway, we're not likely to be truly connected to the feelings suggested by the words of our positive affirmations. Although they might sound very positive, I have all I need, or I'm connected to a universal flow of abundance, or whatever it is, it's rare that we actually feel them deeply enough to evoke a powerful sense of reality in the way that the negative ones automatically do. Rather, we tend to come at these affirmations with a sense of asking, even pleading for something that we don't have, rather than truly affirming what we already believe to be true. They don't arise spontaneously out of our true sentiments, but out of a desperation to escape from something unbearable. What we weakly state we'd like to be true is in conflict with our deeply entrenched beliefs about what actually is true. Whatever words we choose for them, the actual focus of our thought is on the unbearable situation that we're desperate to escape from. When we cut through the language, we're often simply affirming our sense of lack, and thereby inviting more lack. When we truly understand this, and when we remember the old phrase that where attention goes, energy flows, we realize that both our supposedly positive conscious affirmations and our negative unconscious ones are actually taking us in the same direction. towards more and more misery. The odds seem irreversibly stacked against us. But there is one way that we can turn this all around. Unfortunately, it's a really powerful one. The only way that I can compete with fear, worry, despair, self-recrimination is with hope and faith. Faith in myself, faith in my worth, faith in my ability to cope with whatever life throws at me. Faith that whatever happens, everything will be okay. Faith that whatever I'm calling for is already mine. And if this leads to genuine gratitude for being able to access this hope and faith, then we're there. This gratitude is central, and we'll make another video about that on its own at some point. If I can do that, then the whinging and whining of my subconscious negative affirmations immediately lose their power. I'm instead choosing my thoughts, and as a result, I can truly start to expect a better future. So now I know what I need to do. How on earth can I achieve such a lofty state? The thoughts and beliefs of my past, based on the feelings and convictions I carried then, have created the reality of my present life. I can't do much to change that. It's already happened, it's already been created, and I need to undergo it. But what I do with my thoughts now, how I direct my attention in this moment, can affect what my life will be in the future. The industrialist Henry Ford once made an extremely insightful statement, that whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. This is so important because it transforms my ability to influence any situation. I'm no longer a helpless witness to my life. I'm empowered to make any change I want. Simply by reorienting my mind, I can bring about changes in how I experience life, sometimes even straight away, and profound transformations in what might happen for me in the months and years ahead. But this involves a huge readjustment in how my mind is working and in what secretly goes through it during my daily life. What do I need to do to bring about such a colossal change in my thinking? Where can I start? The first step is simply to decide to become aware of what my mind is doing. Rather than allowing myself to slip lazily into judgments or complaints, I can start to notice and then fact-check these indulgences in real time. This might not be so easy if I'm not used to being mindful about how I think, but the power of doing it shouldn't be underestimated. It can totally transform the messaging I give myself, allowing me to stop focusing on what's wrong in my life, thereby inviting more of it, and to instead put more of my attention on my aspirations, allowing more of these to flow into my life instead. Let's say that somebody criticizes me and triggers a set of beliefs I have. For example, that I'm not good enough, or I don't fit in, or whatever it is. The pain of those things coming to the surface might prompt me to respond in a defensive or aggressive way, or to try to push it away, which might trigger more criticism that further stirs up these old inherent beliefs about myself, which I'll react to again. So eventually I'll walk away from that situation further traumatized, with the negative beliefs more deeply entrenched and holding deep resentment of the other person, who I'll hold personally responsible for how I'm feeling. But if I can learn to be more aware about what's going on, I can tell myself a different story. First of all, I can understand that the feelings that were evoked were not real, that they come from old erroneous beliefs that in turn come from painful moments in the past. They were simply mistaken and don't hold any truth. Then I can replace them with what the actual truth is. Not just wishful thinking, but something I'm deeply convinced is true and simply need a reminder of. If I'm believing I'm not good enough, that can't possibly be true. I wouldn't apply that to anybody else, so it can't possibly be true of me either. The truth is that I am good enough just as everybody else is. Once I've truly appreciated the illusory nature of the emotions and beliefs that I carry, this can be so powerful in countering them. The feelings may linger a little longer as the hormones work their way through the system and while the truth has time to do its work, but the long-term effects can be incredibly powerful. Remember the downward cycle we saw earlier. What we're effectively doing here is breaking that cycle. There's only one part of the cycle that I can choose to change. I can't access my brain chemistry. I can't decide which hormones my glands release. I can't even do much about my feelings and emotions once they've started. My only entry point into this system to influence the process is my thought. That's what we're doing here. We're proactively choosing our thoughts rather than defaulting to the lazy ones that our subconscious automatically throws up. It's the only way we can break into this cycle and change it from the inside. We can back this up with some simple physical support. For example, posture. We all know that when we're feeling weighed down by negative thoughts, our posture reflects this state of mind. But it works the other way around too. Try raising yourself to a firm, upright position and observe how much more difficult it is to indulge in negative thinking for as long as you hold that position. We can back this up with healthy choices about what we put into ourselves, not only in our diet, but also in how we consume social media, entertainment, news, and so on. Observe the effect these addictive so-called pleasures have on us and decide whether you feel they're worth it. Because our negative thinking patterns are so deeply ingrained, we might need some outside help to be able to achieve all of this. And the sort of help will be different depending on the person. For some people, it might be something like a talking therapy to get some of the repressed feelings out of the system. My preference is for energy healing, which is what I practice, as it's extremely simple and doesn't involve having to discuss or relive old pains or traumas. Now, I also practice the New Belief Code, which is a groundbreaking new modality from Discover Healing that aims to identify and uproot entire belief systems that may be contributing to our issues and patterns. I've also benefited immensely from heartfulness meditation, which I've been practicing for more than 25 years now. With heartfulness, instead of allowing our minds to go all over the place according to their slightest whim, we decide instead to rest them gently on the heart, with the supposition of the source of light being there. While this might often begin as a theoretical thinking process, it quickly evolves through the practice of the meditation into a deep, nourishing presence that we can feel in the heart and that's with us at all times. By constantly replacing our wondering negativity with an awareness of this inner experience which has become ever present within us and which feels immensely nourishing and satisfying, what we're actually doing, usually without realizing it, is making use of the law of attraction to create a new future for ourselves, one that carries the signature of this indescribably sublime feeling we've been gifted. I fully credit this for the fact that energy healing can now effectively happen through me. It can also really help us in terms of being able to stay in the moment and be aware of what tricks the mind is trying to play on us and to counter those tricks before they happen. The results of all of this might not be felt immediately because the effects of the old thinking needs to work its way through the system before the effects of the new thinking can be truly felt. But perseverance is worthwhile, and it can lead to a transformed new life. By actively and boldly choosing our beliefs, rather than defaulting to the entrenched negative ones, we're actually changing our entire energetic vibration so that we resonate differently with other energy and start to attract different things into our experience. My friend, the world-renowned, award-winning life coach and founder of the Real Coaching Academy, Carol Ann Rice, shares a true story about a friend of hers that powerfully demonstrates the effect that our state of mind, our beliefs, our faith, and our expectations can have on what comes to us in life.
As a life coach, I do believe in miracles because I've seen it happen, and I'm one of these people, unless I've seen it, I don't always believe it. But I knew a woman once who believed it before she had seen it. And we met as friends, and she said to me, one day I'm going to be working with celebrities, royalty, have a really big business. And at the time, she had a very, very tiny micro business working from a windowless room in the West Midlands. And I kind of thought, are you a bit unwell? But I kind of loved her enthusiasm. And over the years, I saw her business grow. And the one thing that struck me, even though she had no evidence of amazing things about to happen, she always believed it. There was 100% positivity in her. She never ever let doubt or negativity in through the door, ever. Despite the ups and downs we all have with life and in business, she kept this 100% focus on, I am going to do this, and laughed if anyone else said that she wasn't. And over the years, to this day, I have seen her meteoric rise. She does work with royalty now. She has been on tour with major bands, and she has scored, this is true, £100 million business overseas in China. And I would not have believed this if I hadn't seen it myself. So I think she was always in alignment with what she wanted from her heart, even though she couldn't see it, even though people said it wouldn't happen. She 100% believed it would, and lived as if the end result was already here. And that is, to me, a kind of modern day miracle.
It's a powerful story, showing that simply believing something can actually bring it about. I have my own much less materially successful version of this, and that's to do with music. I've often felt that I have an innate ability to create good music, and that's always confused me because I've never really had an outlet or an ability to do it well, beyond writing a few songs for my guitar in my 20s. And I have little to no understanding of music theory. But a couple of months ago, I managed to set up my computer to do this and started composing for the first time. I've been overwhelmed by what's been coming out of me, even so early in this process. And in fact, the music that you've been hearing in the background for the last few minutes has been taken from some of my very early pieces. So affirmations can work, but not if they're just wishful thinking that conflict with our negative subconscious beliefs. As we've seen, they work when they're a reminder of what we already know deeply within. They can't be forced. We only have a limited ability to change what we're experiencing in this moment, but depending on how we use our minds during this moment, we can start to bring about an internal shift and create a very different future for ourselves. We've looked at powerful ways to intercept and change the negative commentary of our minds that's propelling us into a downward spiral, and to transform our lives going forward. The law of attraction is real, and we can use it to shape our future. It's just that there's more to it than we've been assuming, which is why it sometimes seems to be failing us. By acting on the observations outlined in this video, we might just be able to give ourselves a chance to create the sort of future we truly aspire to.
I used to overthink a lot for small things also, like I used to overthink and suffer a lot. And after the first session, I felt so light. I'm so confident. I can say, like, for every even big things also, I'm not overthinking. Yeah, I can see a lot of change in myself.
I was diagnosed with severe alopecia areata. In the last 4 years, it became very significant, and there was quite a lot of hair loss. I had options to go on a course of very strong medication or seek an alternative route. After the first session, there was a reduction in the hair loss. After a while, it increased again, but after a second and third session, it lessened once more. After a fourth session, the hair loss stopped completely. And that was 3 months ago. And I'm happy to report in the last 2 weeks, I've noticed a slight regrowth in the areas where there was absolutely no hair whatsoever. The results are amazing, and you're amazing to work with.
Our session was about me undervaluating myself. Somehow it opened up a whole different way of working. The raising the prices wasn't actually an issue anymore. I was thinking, how can I work less for the same price and be a bit more effective? Already what I feel is the relief, psychological relief of not taking so much of my clients' emotional baggage.
I just wanted to just move forward in my life. The most important gift has been how I felt about myself and how I felt inside my body and inside my head. There's been this sense of great calmness and peacefulness, and a sort of stillness has settled upon me. And so life is just so much easier, and there's this sense of really that everything's okay. There's a spaciousness in my head. It's just been the most amazing thing. It's just a gift. That's all I can say. It's just been the most amazing gift of my life, really.